Hi everyone, it's me, Carbundance. Welcome back to another topic video. Today's topic is a comment from Melonina from my German channel. I'm going to quickly translate it for you guys. Hi Mary, after having been almost exclusively raw vegan for quite a while and not having eaten any processed food, I've recently had I binge ate basically. As always, when you forbid yourself something, then you always want to break out of these rules that you impose on yourself. I should know better by now, so it has happened to her several times. I'm wondering how other people actually are disciplined for a longer time. Like, how do they do it? Well, basically, so for me, for example, I did not really suffer from binge eating while I was anorexic, even when I was very, very underweight. But the only reason for that was because I got severely sick with that doesn't mean that you're better. Like, if you have these binge eating episodes and eat all of the calories that you're missing back or not, you're mentally just as unwell. Just because someone has the discipline to do that doesn't mean they are better off than you. Actually, it's quite the opposite. Like, they are gonna be physically much more unwell in the long term because they're not only mentally screwed up, but they're also missing more calories. They stay in a bigger energy deficit, and at some point in time, it doesn't matter which human on earth, at some point in time the body will not take revenge, but it's going to do what it takes to keep itself alive, and it's going to binge eat. Mind you, it's not really binge eating, it's not a disorder, it's actually the most natural response to any kind of famine or energy deficit that goes long enough. So what I want to say by this is it doesn't make sense to actually compare yourself to the others, quote unquote, who are disciplined enough to not binge eat. Like, it's not even binge eating in this case, right? I know it feels like you lose the control, but it's actually what needs to happen, because the mistake in all of this, the problem in all of this, is not the binge eating itself. It is actually what came before, the restriction, which led to the binge eating. And so there would not have been binge eating without the restriction. And I just want you to see, it's not binge eating, it is what needs to happen. And just because someone resists or is able to, or is disciplined enough to resist to binge eating, does not mean that is any less harmful, right? It's actually in the long term the opposite, because the body will always do what makes it survive the most. And yes, so you're asking, now that you're eating, do you now feel better than in the times when you ate exclusively healthy? I can say yes. And you go further. I have to say, now that I eat processed foods, now that I've eaten processed foods again, I feel unwell. Like, I feel pretty unwell, you say. Maybe that's because I break the rules that I have imposed on myself, and I'm ashamed of myself. Thank you for your videos. I think your journey is exciting. Yes, I think so too. It feels exciting. I'm glad that it helps you. So I would really see it the way that you already say it yourself. You think it's because you feel ashamed of breaking the rules. I do not think that anyone in the long term, the more they recover, the more they are nutritionally rehabilitated, are going to experience major digestive issues. I think, and I can say from my own experience, that I felt very unwell when eating processed foods, but not primarily because of physical reasons, because of digestive reasons. In the very beginning, yes, there were digestive issues, but not for a very long time. Actually, it was quite much less than I had thought it to be before. And so the unwellness in my case came very much from me being unwell mentally, and not from me personally, the real self, but because my eating disorder was unwell. It basically just flooded my brain with thoughts like, you should not be doing this, this is so shameful. It basically made me feel unwell, even though I was not unwell. With all of these thoughts like, I'm going to get so unhealthy, I'm going to get this and that disease, and this is an eating disorder, this is binge eating, this is the other extreme, I'm going, you know, of course, like usually people think I'm going to get fat and I'm going to lose all of the control, and like the eating disorder cannot think in rational or like in realistic terms. It basically always shouts any kinds of radicals and extremes onto you. And pretty much from my experience, I can approve that might very well be the case for you as well, that you just feel unwell because you're ashamed that you were breaking the rules. And so I would say, really, and for anyone, if you feel unwell mentally about it, and even physically, as long as you're doing recovery and you're pissing your eating disorder off, take it as a good sign. Take it and run with it. The more you feel uncomfortable, the more you're doing things right. And I know especially in the beginning, it feels like this is not worth it. It's like everything else that I've been doing before, even with all of the restrictions and rules, at least I had some structure, at least I felt good about myself and more disciplined. In the long run, this is just going to keep you stuck, and you're going to sit there in 10 years time and thinking, well, here we still are, like nothing has changed. Why has nothing changed? Because you haven't been breaking the rules, you haven't been going against the fears that your eating disorder has. So take it as a very good sign that you are doing things right. If you feel unwell, you're doing things right. That's basically the idea behind recovery, and some recovery rule, if you will, that you can hold on to kind of gauge if you're on the right track or not. If it feels wrong, it is right. So I hope these thoughts helped you. Please let me know in the comments if you have any further detailed questions about it. I'm happy to go into them as well. And see you next video. Bye.